start recording. And hello everybody. And I'm also going live. Okay. Here we are.
Okay, we are live.
Yeah. Hi everybody.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the webinar that's basically dedicated to the last steps toward the end of this year cycle. And what we mean by the cycle is this traditional year that ends in the 31, starts the last kind of cycle, the last steps toward the rave new year, which in human design system we consider the frequency year. Yeah, the year that's really aligned with the natural frequency of the universe.
And also around the time that the Chinese New Year is as well. So it's connected to the astronomical phenomena of actually the sun circling around the mandala wheel, the rave mandala wheel in human design. And we're going to look at that now. And entering into activating different themes, entering in different hexagrams. So the last steps towards the end of the year cycle is actually a very important time of the year. And right on the 31st of December. So here we see the yin and the yang. On the 31st of December, actually, we enter into the last gate, sorry, the first gate from the last four before New Year. So we enter into the 38th gate, which marks the beginning of the end of the actual turn of the sun around the rave mandala wheel. So every 5.5 days, approximately, the sun and earth move gates. So these times 365 days happens during those 365 days. So it's very interesting, and I have always wondered when before I knew anything about human design, how come we're always so tired after New Year? And what happens is that every year on the 31st of December, we enter into the 38th gate. And it's the gate of the fighter, and it's a melancholic gate. We're gonna look at it in a second, but so every year, right when everybody's celebrating the end of the year, actually we enter the beginning of the end. So when everybody already made their New Year's resolutions and are ready to meet the new, having this blast of a party, actually we enter the times which mark the beginning of the end process. So those are 4 weeks where the energies in the wheel are in such a way that they wake up different themes, which actually prepare us to close step by step the year cycle before we come to the beginning at the 41st gate, at the starting codon. But there are those 4 steps which can benefit us greatly to actually have a closing to our yearly cycle. So Three of those gates are from the individual circuit. So they're freaky gates, but they're also melancholic gates. So as we know, the 21st of December was the darkest day, and it marked the beginning of the every minute the day starts to get larger again in the northern hemisphere and the opposite in the southern hemisphere. But these are times where it's really dark outside in the northern hemisphere. So it's in different philosophies and religions, we and saints, if we look at Christianity, we talk about really looking inside ourselves and um, taking from the inside fire to keep us through the dark and to it's these cozy times when it's also colder and so on. So those are really 4 weeks where it's time to be more with yourself and stay with those themes so that you can benefit from it mostly and not being out there and partying. And I always thought, why are we so tired those first 3 weeks before the new year starts? And but there is an explanation. It's just energetically, they're built like that.
And
Julia?
actually, it feels like that big time. And that's why we started with the slide with the black body graph, just to bring the normality to the fact that so many people feel exhausted and melancholic and depressed. I myself had to cancel a reading today and a course for tomorrow because yeah, people are informing me about their processes, and honestly, my own process also not, I wouldn't call it light and easy as I normally know myself. And the celebrations, they're carrying this energy of like, let's get together and let go of everything that did not whatever served us, because now we are together happy celebrating. But those who sensitive enough, who present enough, are not lying to themselves, are very rarely able to celebrate sincerely. Sincerely meaning this heart is singing and I'm really feeling so good. It's a new year, it's amazing holiday. I personally have not met a single person who feels like that. If you guys feel like that, please write in the chat, or if you're watching later in the comments, that what girls are you talking about here? It's a beautiful time. We feel so light and wonderful, amazing. Yeah, I would really love to meet that person, because it is nature has its season, nature has its cycles, and it is quite a cycle, yeah, that we are going now. And admitting it and knowing how to go through it correctly, as simple as that, is the key to your sanity, is the key to the ability to simply accept yourself and the other as they are, knowing what's going on. Not in terms of I'm so smart, yeah, but in terms of I'm in the surrender to life and its natural flow, the way it is, without trying to fake it. Yeah, so now we are going to look at these four gates and where we are entering together as a background frequency, because this picture, what you look at, is the background frequency, meaning all these numbers, yeah, that can be deciphered easily into words, into states, into your mental stories. They are in the every pixel of this universe, but it's not something that's into our face. It's rather there at the background. So there are many exercises of how to navigate, how to know the transits. For example, it can be really interesting exercise to just go through the titles of the news and then find the words that belong to this or that gate that you are at the moment, and you'll see that the proximity of that will be quite high. Like it's like everybody follows this background frequency. Most of people obviously are doing it unconsciously, but even people who do practice human design, myself included, it's totally unconscious. I mean, I can know things, and then I will know that I will not base my decisions on that energy. But sometimes not following, I'm not that person who wakes up and opens the ephemeris and all this. I'm not a lover of transits as my dear colleagues. Yeah. So I would sometimes space out for a week or two, then I'll open. I like to open things that already happened. Yeah, it's just like, oh, that's what it was. That's why I behaved like that. And this is incredible, incredible to see like that the level of this choicelessness is proximate the infinity. And yeah, so let's take a look.
Yeah, and these black and white that Julia put here is good to remember because you're talking today, but today we're still in the 58 gate, the joyous, you know? So, like, your mood is probably right now in on the down part of your wave, but there will be people who will probably be feeling differently. But really, like on the 31st, which is in 2 days, I'm watching this for several years now, maybe 10. And it's crazy when exactly the moment, when the gate changes, the 38 gate. And it's always on New Year. So it's so interesting. So here are the four gates. Mm, and on this year, it will be at 1 p.m. And 18 minutes Eastern European time, or 11 o'clock GMT, when the gate will change on the 31st of December. So watch it, guys, if you're preparing for the party and the whole thing, and if you suddenly see that your mood is not, the best, or people around you are cranky, or, you can just keep watching what's happening. And let's look now at the first gate, the 38 gate, the gate of the fighter, opposition, the fuel to fight for what is valuable in life, the stubbornness which can overcome the odds, and the ability to persevere individual integrity through opposition to detrimental forces. So this gate kind of opens the theme of it's part of the channel of stubbornness of the fighter, opposition, and it's about fighting for what it's worth for you. It's individual. So what really makes sense to you? And it opens up the theme of the year in a way. When you look back at that year, were you doing the things that were really worth doing? That were the things that it was really worth fighting for? Were those the things that made sense and gave meaning to your life? Were those the things that were difficult, and maybe you wanted to give up? What happened? Did you give up? Did you leave the fight for another day, maybe? Or were those the things that would really make you feel like it's all worth it? Or is that there the fear that maybe life is not worth it? How's the feeling? For about 5.5 days, we're going to have the possibility to go through the themes of the 38 gate, which open those themes of the meaning, a very deep meaning of life itself. And it's individual. It's about your individual fight, your individual life, your mutative way, because we're all, that's the science of differentiation. We're all so different. So we bring our own footprint in the energy fields. We bring our own uniqueness. So it's about our individual fight, our individual meaning. Julia?
Yeah. It's interesting when I hear what you are sharing, and I remember kind of the traditional this the New Year's tradition of making a wish and then writing it on the paper and then burning the paper, putting the ashes in the glass of champagne and drinking the champagne, and therefore declaring that the purpose is really imprinted on the very, very deep level and inside your actual body. And just like 38 is aiming into 28, yeah, as its harmonic gate, which is all about, yeah, this what is the ultimate purpose? Yeah, what's that goal of life? And 38 will always look for it. Yeah, it's the gate of a fighter. It's gonna fight for that purpose no matter what. And what if the purpose is not there yet? What if it's not really grounded yet? It's deep, it's dark, it's hopeless. Mm, there's no meaning of life then if there is no purpose for it. So then it starts struggling not for something, then it starts struggling against something. And that's what we see all over the place. It's mm, I started actually watching news just recently, a couple years ago, after never been into news my whole life. So I don't understand much in politics, but I see a lot of this countries saying we have the weapon that can ruin the whole this other country, and this kind of repetitive pattern from both sides, the countries are just showing how great fighters they are. Nobody wants to be the best we can feed the whole Africa, I don't know what. Everybody is just like, why is it so? Why our priorities are so much changing also on the global level? For me, it's always interesting to look at the macro and the micro level as the polarities as opposites reflecting the same process. So it's not like there are some answers, yeah, but this observation is really it's really about that. Yeah, we got power, we got all these resource, we're ready to fight against because we don't know what we're fighting for. Yeah, that's 38 when it's in the great not self of it.
Yeah, and also we can look at the 38 as the um, fuel for fighting the fear of death. And it's the adrenalized energy for overcoming that fear and taking the risk when it's really worth it. It's for, especially for those people who have that channel, for them, if it's not difficult maybe at some point. Maybe it's not even the right thing, because the right and the correct things will be things it's worth fighting for, and then the battle is sweet. So here it's also the energy uh to a little bit be it's also part of the cross of tension, so it's also the energy to um that word to be to come through and to I'll just see it yeah uh, to challenge, to be challenging. It's a challenging an energy which is challenging the other side. It's challenging death. So and also on the other side is the spleen. It's about well-being. So it's on a very deep level indeed, also about survival, and about knowing how to survive when you're correct, and when you take healthy decisions, when to actually be take a chance and risk and go all the way and really fight for things. So opening that thing for 5.5 days, yeah, fighting and provoking, yeah, indeed. um it's about kind of taking us back to the whole past year, what we were fighting and provoking. Was it really our truth? Was it somebody else's truth? Did we get into those big fights with our according to our strategy and authority? What happened? What did we learn there? And all of those things. Yeah. And it's till the 6th of January. So it's indeed interesting, because people maybe start dreaming some things. Not yet. The 41st gate will be about dreaming on the 22nd of January, but we're homogenized on the 1st, and 2nd of January to wish those good things to ourselves for the coming year. So in a way, it can resonate more or less to wishing those things that are worth fighting for. Uh, yeah. So people are like, I will start a new diet from New Year. I will stop cigarettes as from the new year. I will fight for that. And it's a little bit that kind of vibe, uh, with setting goals and stuff like that. And it's a fight energy, but it can be mutative or not. We're in duality. So if we have a defined ego and we make a promise, it might be healthy if it's according to our authority, but 70% of the people don't have a defined ego, and um, fighting for health and promising might not be the healthiest way. You have to find probably other inspiration, how to be healthy and so on. Yeah. And then what happens? The only tribal gate, the 54th gate, comes in, also in the root, so also adrenalized energy. The gate of ambition, the marrying maiden, interaction in its mundane social context, but also one's mystical and cosmic relationships. So for those 5.5 days at the beginning of the year, the themes which are opened by the program are connected to how we were were we successful during the past year? How did we grow in the hierarchy of things and on the material plane? Um, did we follow our ambitions? And most importantly, who was there to support us on the material plane? Who was those people who really were there for us on the material plane and supported us in a material way, maybe with money or with energy or um, with material resources, because this is a tribal gate. It's very sticky, and it's about not forgetting who was there to help you on the way to success, on the way to growth and development. But here, uh, it's about recognition. You recognizing those forces which um, supported you, and were you recognized by those forces so that they would support you? And mm, every year, I during this time of year, I think of that, and it's amazing when you remember, because sometimes it's so unexpected. You think, wow, that person that I never expected will turn and support me in a way or help me in a way and be, especially because I'm a 5-1, so the theme of allies is very I'm very sensitive to it. So who are my allies? Who was there for me, really? Not only it's about the family, it's about the tribe, it's tribal support, but it's maybe it was not your family. Maybe it was totally not who you would expect it. And it's always funny to think about it. I really challenge you, think this year about it. Who was those people who supported you on the material plane with financial, like really, that's a projector gate. Like, which were the real invitations? Uh, and who didn't? Who was not there for you? Because that's the other side. Maybe you've expected somebody to be there for you and they weren't. So those days will like give you more or less, uh, insight. Uh-huh. Ava says, I felt this and I remember vividly this melancholy on the 1st of January. Maybe Ava, you want to say it or not? I can read it. Mm. As well as an internal scream from a writer path in life. Sometimes in my youth, I thought it was hangover. Me too. But later I noticed it's still there, no matter whether I part it or not. No wonder there are societal terms like January blues. Yeah, January blues, indeed. Didn't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. This is very powerful times, and so many of us, when we get to know these frequencies and meet these frequencies, we really start grounding in this realization that it's okay, we're okay, but not from this just Zen-ish, everything is nice, whatever it is, but really having a foundation and sensing the different okays, right? And just like Veronica beautifully saying about the 54, yeah, that okay, from 6th of January, we start entering this more tribal, gluey, touchy kind of, well, 54 is not that touchy, it's more of a smelly part, a watery part actually, because 54 also starts that circuit, what we call the circuit of memory, and the memory connected to water. It's a place that basically stores and transmits and transports information in its very, very foundational way. And what seems to me, there is also a very interesting correlation with the Christmas, because half of the world is celebrating Christmas on the 24, 25 of December, but another half of Christians are actually celebrating it on 6th, 7th of January. And interestingly enough, even though we have so much mystical stuff going on in the body graph, we have mystic paths, we have gates of occult knowledge and mysticism that are nothing to do with this side of the body graph where 54 is in the root connecting to the spleen. The most mystical line in the whole of the Ravi chain is actually in the fourth line of this gate, of 54 gate. And it's a name of this line is enlightenment and darkenment. And here we see this like, what's going on here? It's the enlightenment itself, because we see it's also a circuit that connects to instincts, yeah, in the very foundational side of our being, animalistic survival, the body as an animal that aims to survive, and it's only there in the now. It doesn't have any more past, future, all of this. So it's this time when for us the mysticism can be embodied in this very much mundane plane of how do I maintain my own body? Can I follow my instinct? Can I be in my instinct? Can I connect, yeah, to myself in these darkest times of the year? Uh, at least for this hemisphere, yeah, that's what it is. And all of it is highly connected. And as Veronica was saying before, it's all very much connected also to the environment. Who is around me? Because 54 also belongs to the cross of penetration, yeah, and taking this word also in the connection of the projectorhood, yeah. Who are you penetrating with your energy? Who is penetrating you? That's what can fuel the ambition. That's what can bring us to transformation. And of course, from the not self perspective, as a fuel energy, it can literally fuel and drive us to action, but we don't want that. Yeah, it's not the time for action. It's actually time for the opposites. It's time to hibernate, to go inside, to tune into what's going on within. But the mind will always want to be driven, yeah, just like we have the description of the channel here, the design of being driven. So the mind is driven to act. Okay, this is new year, 1 week passed, let's start going, let's start doing, let's keep initiating whatever it is. And do you have the right people? Do I have the right people? Is it the right environment? Who am I penetrating? Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, all of these questions are really good to ask before the actual act. Yeah, what am I basing on? Yeah, so I'm bringing this keynoting of the memory and water and the instinct, all of it together. So the this first second week, yeah, actually between the transition between first and second week of um, January, it's a great time to reflect. What memory am I keeping? What memory am I using to base my the next step in life, the next year of life, that will bring later transformation? What am I going to be driven with? What's the correct ambition to fuel, but not to act on yet? It's just the foundation of foundation of foundation. Yeah, it's more. We can also see it as a reflection, yeah, a reflectivity of what kind of memory am I keeping with me for the next step from the previous cycle. Yeah, so we can look at the keynotes, and that's the beauty of keynotes always, is that we can look at them from different perspectives, from multiple sides. Nothing is like one-sided in human design, and none of it is literally call for action, but it's rather food for contemplation.
And Lisa Marie says, and we know the root isn't the decision-making center yet. So many are moving from this space. It's just a fuel. And I wanted to
Lisa,
add,
you want to add? Yeah.
I should have probably put a comma in there, not meaning yet, like it's never going to be, but yeah, it's just, as you said, it's time for reflection. Even though we're in mutation, we're in the southern hemisphere here. It's warm. People feel like going out and partying and, feeling alive, but it is draining. Absolutely. I 100% back that. And just through my own experience, yeah, maybe being a projector, not as much energy, but yeah, I'm certainly, aligned to my design. No motors. I feel tired. These are all root gates, and yeah, just feeling that moment to sit back and to feel and to recognize. I don't feel like interacting as much either, but we have a lot of people, yeah, moving from this space because they feel the pressure and the root to do something with it. They don't know how to harness it, and just to, yeah, enjoy that mutative energy. We haven't been educated properly, have we? So, yeah. Thanks.
and I wanted to underline again that it's above the lines. It says interaction in its mundane social context. So who was there for me, who supported me, and so on, but also one's mystical and cosmic relationships. So it's, as Julia said, the most mystical line, but it kind of gives us the possibility to feel the whole totality in a way, that it's the illusion of separateness, and we're all connected, and we're all um in the picture of the totality. It's who was there for me, and then who I was there for, so that, cosmic relationships can go quite deep. Those are forces that are not even probably, they're difficult to get to the awareness, but they're there in the background frequency. And we can, of course, look at it two ways. They can drive us through the not self to be ambitious and start ambitious plans, fuel them with some adrenalized pressure for climbing the ladder of success when it's not the timing yet.
And then, and then on the third week, we are moving to 61, mystery, inner truth, the awareness of universal underlying principles, which is, interestingly enough, is also in the pressure center. Just like we had 54 in the physical pressure, that's never a decision-making point. Here we have a mental pressure. And again, it's also melancholic because it's yearning for something that is beyond the head center, at the place where the personality crystal is. When we look at the body graph, we see that it's in, but it's also not really inside the body. So by its nature, just from looking at the picture, we can see that it's transitioning somewhere beyond somewhere where it knows something exists, but it cannot really reach it. That's why it's gate of mystery. And it's a mystery about own being. Yeah, there is this history and his story and my story and my story. That inner truth is a great mystery, and there's always going to be pressure to resolve it. Yeah, who am I for generators? Yeah, who are you for projectors? So on and so forth. And that's the time when we're kind of we start feeling that it's the time is not really to do something, to initiate something, but we're already finishing that big cycle, but we kind of already finished it if we look at the calendar. So what to do about it? And there's a lot of this no focusing, wanting to focus, not knowing what is important to really put your energy to. All of it together is there. So how, I mean, 61 belongs to cross of Maya, so it's all about discovering this illusion. Yeah, thinking. Actually, the left cross is the obscuration. So there is this kind of, in the way, this process of like, what is really darkness, light again. So it's interesting to start observing it within and surrendering, because this pressure to know the absolute within, is it possible? And if yes, is it possible to have that knowing as a constanta, as something that's going on there forever? Yeah, it's very, very complex, just like this whole circuitry that 61 belongs to. It's this knowing that it's also not known, and allowing not knowing is surrendering. And the mind will never allow us to do so. The mind will always push us into that resolution. Yeah, because knowing is a place of comfort. Not knowing is just obscure. It's scary. It's scary. And it looks into the ajna, right? So it's always going to be like, anxieties are somewhere next to the corner. How to resolve it? Act, 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 act. And we are finding ourselves in this crazy hamster wheel. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also looked at the 38 gate, and because it's the individual circuitry, and those are in the root. So it's those are different aspects from the fight in the 38, uh, to fight spontaneously, and in the 39th, then if you look, is to fight under the pressure of the emotional wave, and putting the emotions under pressure. And here the 61, it's kind of the pressure to know in all times, um, to know in the knowing can be inspiring for our whole life, and looking for answers. And the saying, the best teachers stay students all their life, because the learning and never stops. The more you know, the more you know you don't know, in a way. Um, and the 61st gate, really, it opens the theme during those 5.5 days. What was my inner truth? Was I doing during this past sun cycle the things that were my story, that were my mystery. It's again very individual process. It's about your truth, your inner truth. What was it really inspiring, those things you were doing? Were they inspirational for you? Um, and or it was somebody else's inspirations and somebody else's questions. Um, so it's a time to really look and connect to that energy of the inner truth and answer the question. Not that it's a real answer, but it's more like here is one of the times when the question is more important, maybe, than the answer. Just to sit with the question. Uh, was it my inner truth, what I was busy with, what I was doing this year, or where my priorities were, and so on. And again, looking at another pressure center, the 61 being in the head center, as Julia noted, it's again here we have the risk of vocalizing this head pressure and mental pressure into, and we know that mind is never our decision authority. It can be a great outer authority, but it can put us under tremendous pressure to resolve maybe things that are unresolvable. Because the 61st gate, you really, there are things that are worth knowing. There are things that, even if you know, it doesn't really make any sense for you because they might not be important for your particular life situation. Like, why would you know how the engine of the airplane works in order to fly if you're not an engineer or you don't have hold special interest there? You just, or your car, you just get in your car and you drive. But of course, you can waste your energy and look for things that, if that's what makes you vibe. But there are those things that are not answerable. Like, for instance, we don't know what happens after we die. We want to know, but and there is no sense to look at things that are so mysterious that they're not findable. And you should just learn to let go and enjoy that some questions might not have an answer. So it is a time that you can get very, it's not confused and doubtful, but it's somewhere in between, like not feeling confused and doubtful about not knowing, and this can become obsessive, trying to know, and it can become depressive when you cannot give up on your thoughts process. And so the best advice I always I really like, for myself at least, it works, and I'm with the defined head and ajna, so it would probably might be different with when you're with undefined. But for me, when I have those oppressive thoughts or too much questions which are draining my energy, just find a way to direct this energy somewhere else, like learn something that might be useful, or study human design, or come to the festival, and direct it just in a healthy, correct way, according, of course, to your strategy and authority. And we come to the
And
last
then
step.
the last step of the year, the last step or moment, where really the door is supposed to open. but before the doors are open, you really mean them closed. And beautiful, by the way, image, Veronica, that you put here. It's so powerful. Here you are, yeah. The January started, and you're just speeding up to start the year and bring new things, and something happens. And I mean, even if nothing happens, there's this kind of stagnation in the air, and it's gate of acceptance or gate of limitation. The acceptance of limitation is the first step in transcendence, the pulsing pressure to mutate. Wow, there's a lot of strong words that we are finding as a keynotes for the 60th gate. And indeed, yeah, this gate is this energy of limitation in its most exalted way. And it is, again, just like 61, in a circuit of knowing. But if 61 was a lot of this mental dealing with all these resolutions and inner truth and this mysticism, here it's way more mundane frequency of limitation in the just this life's circumstances. I mean, it belongs to cross of laws, so it's also a lot to do with this, like, okay, what is right, what is the law, how I deal with it, yeah, why is it limiting me? Laws are always somehow limiting us. It also giving us order and freedom, but also limiting us tremendously. And limitation is given for one reason only, because then you cannot go straight, just like here on the picture. Yes, you got to do something, and while you're doing that something, because of that limitation, you discover something else, and that's this mutation. Yeah, that's when something completely radically new shows up in your process. And with that new, we're going to be able to really transgress and make a new step into that new cycle. But before, it's about gathering all this power. Yeah, it's that fuel that's we are taking in and breathing in. And just like I love how the Ra was bringing here this notion of what Japanese in Zen, it's called ma, yeah, this space between the notes, this silence, but it's not the nothing silence, it's a full silence. Because out of this silence is born something new, something that no one ever has been witnessing, yeah, or you have never been witnessing, yeah, me have never been witnessing. And it's only possible when there is a surrender element and then just stopping. And that's what we are going to do just before the new cycle hits. Yeah, it's about stopping, it's not about acting. And of course, it doesn't mean we all have to freeze and do nothing. It's a way deeper way of stopping. It's that finding that silence within, even though you keep going, because life is creation, movement is creation. It's all about things are moving. We keep doing things. We actually start the festival on 17th of January. It's exactly the day when 60th gate starts. So it's also interesting to look at this way. Aha, okay, we are going to find our limitations. I'm very curious how it's going to embody itself on the material plane that specific day. And what kind of knowing will be unfolding in front of our eyes? What kind of limitations we're going to meet that will support our personal and the human design communities um, mutation as the whole, because no question about it, our project will mutate the whole human design community, because so many teachers are joining and all of the teachers are spreading the frequency to their students. So it's that kind of limiting, distracting in the way. Yeah, the left cross here is a cross of destruction. in order to transgress and discover something new. And it's possible only with a deep, deep, deep acceptance of what is happening.
So our idea is to use the format of the mutation to help the process of inner mutation as well during the days of the festival. But also those days, 5.5 days, it's also the background frequencies about being able to sit with the nothingness, or looking at those past 360 days of the year and being able to see all those things which were limiting you this year, all those things that you had to let go of, all those things that you had to find a shorter path to, or a different path. Uh, as Julia was mentioning, the cross of limitation, I can really see, I have somebody at home, but I can really see when they meet limitations, how they find a way around them and discover new things in the process. Or when limitations uh, are so strong that they make us look at something else that there is there, which, or notice a pattern of, or limitations that we cannot overcome. And what are those things that keep coming back in our life to limit us, so maybe that we pay attention to something else. I have a very interesting example of a person who I know, and she's blind, and she says it's this question of why was all my life, until one day I realized it's not about the why, it's about the limitation that opens the doors to something that is there, and you can learn from and discover from. So the 60th gate, with its great stopping in a way force, like rooting you before there is this pulse or not. And it's so inconsistent as energy. You never know whether a mutation is going to be viable or not. And it's opposite to the third gate, which is the real genetic imperative. It decides what mutation is going to go and what not, with putting a difficulty at the beginning, but then the right mutation will push through that and change and mutate and give this force, adrenalized force, for something new. It's really the format energy of the whole mutative and individual process. It's really giving us the energy to look at what were those limitations that we overcame during this past year, or what are those things that we just have to let go and leave in the past, leave in the past year, leave them to be and get in peace with them. Just watch the passing year during those 5.5 days and letting go of everything without judgment, without putting lessons to it, without putting thoughts to it, without anything else, but just letting it be, letting it go, and releasing, accepting. That's the gate of acceptance. It's a process of knowing which is either there or not. But it's the field of openness. In order to get the knowing, there has to be time of not doing, not knowing, a time of silence, of nothingness, of void. There should be a void so that something comes out of that void. And really the music is the silence between the notes. That's what makes the rhythm. And the longer the silence, the longer the notes and so on, that's what makes the rhythm and the music. So the 60th gate is kind of the deepest connection to our inner rhythm, sound, and even our heart, works with, not all the time, it's a pulse, like works and rests and works and rests. So the 60th gate, it's like the last, as Julia also expressed it with the breath. I also connected to that, like the last breath out of the year, to breathe out the last limitations of the past year, so that you can finally be open to start dreaming anew and getting into the new cycle. And Rachel says the period before a cycle shift, whether before a birthday or before a Rave New Year, brings the biggest opportunity for awareness, burning up of old stories, also like being present to a birthing process. Yeah.
Rachel, you wanna add something?
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, it just reminds me how beautiful it is to watch it, to be not acting from the pressure, just to observe it and feel the old cycle burning up. The old stories are just, just to watch it float away and be present to that is beautiful. I love what you said about the void as well, and accepting that you just have to be with it and let it pass through, bring awareness to it and let it go. Yeah.
And then when we are going to pass through that tunnel, through the tunnel of watching and not acting on things and truly contemplating with a great wisdom, with the wisdom that will allow us not to act, because every action that will be taken, and we will see on the bigger scale in the world that obviously actions will be taken, and then we will watch so what's the word, what comes from action, yeah, the what will come from the actions we will witness, yeah, that it's not going to be juicy true self wonderful inspiring things. It's going to be things that we're going to drag with us later for months and months, trying to clear and harmonize and balance, you name it. But if we really succeed in not taking too much action, but rather staying with them, we'll discover that by the end of January, we're going to be full. We're going to be full and we're going to be empty at the same time, because that's that ultimate Zen state. And when you're full and empty at the same time, that means you are ready for anything. And at the same time, you don't know nothing. And that is that state where you are completely shrunk. And what is 41? 41 is exactly this, is this gate that's on the one hand, it's such a huge kind of limitation. It's limiting, it's really limiting. And on the other, a contraction. It's limiting, it's contracting, it's going within. And we know that on the other hand, on the other end, there is this desire that's later going to fuel us and bring us to the progress. But it's a long way. It's a long way to the progress, and that's where we're gonna find ourselves slowly, slowly, whatever it means for each and every one of us. It is so individual. It is so different, and only patience, yeah, patience is the great virtue for all the emotional beings. And 41 is that fuel that actually fuels this whole emotional stream of awareness. Yeah, allows us sensing what's true and what's not, what's correct and what's not. And it's possible only in time. And no one outside of you will allow you to wait. Because what is there to wait? We're gonna do. We're gonna make more money. We're gonna see more places. We're gonna meet more people. We're gonna buy more things. We're gonna whatever. Nothing outside of you will ever allow you to wait. It's only that inner space, inner authority, whatever your authority is. Even these spontaneous beings are here to wait for that spontaneous voice to really call them out and act. It's all about waiting as a natural state of being. Not that I will sit and wait. No, it's I'll live my life and I'll be in the state of conscious present waiting. Yeah, that's 41. That's the great celebration. And actually we're tailoring the festival so we can gather together in this moment of 41, clicking, ticking the clock. So we can really experience it in the conscious field that I have never, ever heard about any human design event happening on this planet. Well, when a lot of people were gathering together and consciously experiencing this ticking clock happening. So this is huge. It doesn't matter if it's in the aura or online. When we're going to be together in this amplified field, entering, from my perspective, one of the most difficult years. 24 is going to be crazy. It's going to be a really crazy year. And it's going to be a lot of unexpected things happening. Not only from human design perspective, but from many perspectives. We really got to be ready for something we cannot get ready. Because in the 24, in the middle of 24, we're going to hit this middle cycle of the 7 years before 2027. We started with Corona as a beginning of the 7-year cycle. And in the middle of 24, it's going to be exactly middle of that cycle. So we know something really huge is going to happen. Nobody obviously knows what. So we see it as something really symbolic that we can gather together and be there, amplifying and empowering each other in our path, in our trajectory of alignment, individual alignment with our true, whatever it means, our truth, whatever it means. Yeah.
So, as from the 31st, we enter the 38th gate, and it's a reflection about was it really worth fighting for, and what were those things that we were fighting for? Were they really what was mattering? What's the biggest fight that's worth to give you meaning in your life? And who was there to support us and help us on this journey to be successful and grow on the ladder of development. And were those things our inner truths, and were those really the things which were inspiring us? And are we able to transcend and let go? in order to enter the new, to dream about new passions, which will bring us new experiences and new feelings and emotions towards what we need to establish them. And then we get to the 13th gate where we can listen to what might be coming in the next year as direction. So guys, the 41st will be the end of the festival, and it's also the time where we're going to look with Don Elwick at the forecast for 2024. Some people are actually looking very inspired to 2024, and they are optimistic in comparison to Julia's pessimism. So we don't know.
1-3, sorry, 1-3. I just cannot do that. Yeah. But everyone has their own truth. It's only the linear Maya will show us what's gonna happen. Year of Dragon.
Yeah, the dragon with it's we're already seeing the flames of the burning flames of the sleeping phoenix burning us. And we know it can be hard to the mind. And this is why with the festival we offer this safe place where you can be yourself and experiment, let yourself mutate, and you don't have to act, you can just be. That's why we have stages be and stages do. Whole be and whole do and online. So yeah, we're really looking forward to share our melancholy with you, our limitations, and maybe we find a way to transcend them together. Who knows? Or not. We're really looking forward, guys, to meet you in Aura very, very soon. Actually, 2.5 weeks, something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was great to see those who joined live with us here in Zoom and those who joined also live in social media channels. And you know what to do. You still have a possibility to get your ticket with all kind of goodies that we tailor made for you. So please go to the website, see the incredible cast of teachers that we gathered one by one, and incredible list of topics. Looks like we truly covered every possible topic existing in human design system. So every teacher will talk about something different. There's literally almost no crossing of topics. So whatever your field of interest is, you can find the lectures and workshops. And actually, our approach is more leaning toward workshops because we want more of the experiential stuff. And even if you are joining online, there are going to be an actual workshops when you will be busy doing things and not just passively listening to lectures. So go to the website, check out what's going on. If you have more questions, very welcome to talk to us. We are here, very available, and looking to see you in this incredible event.
yeah, somebody said yesterday, people, they're like, they find out they really wanted to be on an event after the event started or it's finished. So guys, don't wait until it started. Don't wait until it's finished. Now is the time to get your ticket, last minute tickets for, especially if you want to come live to Sofia, or you can just come for the weekend. Or if you are around the world, anywhere from any point. You can join online via Zoom, via our different language rooms as well. So if you don't speak English, you probably are not understanding what I'm saying. So if you have friends who don't speak English, please let them know that we are providing different translations. Check it out. What translations? We have Bulgarian, Russian, Italian, I think Spanish, French, maybe German coming. So follow our Facebook and Instagram for more news on the languages. And actually, if you are an interpreter and you want to help, you're more than welcome to join our volunteer team. Help us out to open this event for also non-English speakers. And let's share this together. We have 2.5 weeks to go. So please, please share it around. If somebody might need this information or need this experience and experiment in their life right now, needs a restart, something new on individual level, partnership level, family level, child level, business level, career level, this festival has it all. Come be with us and let's see what we mutate and come with. You want to come? Yay.
You are invited. Yay. See
So,
you soon, guys.
see you
And thanks
soon.
for being.
Yeah, see you soon. Thank you. Great
Bye
to see
bye.
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Bye.
Ciao. Ciao, everyone.
Okay.